It is August, and football in Portugal is back. It started with Benfica getting a small measure of revenge on Sporting in the Supertaça. The transfer window is still open, but for all intents and purposes, it's time for football. This puts an end to the wildest offseason, which followed the wildest season in Portuguese history. However, the offseason was wild for the saddest and most tragic reason. My name is Howie. This is Positively Portugal. Let's get into it. Obviously, I am talking about the tragic car accident that claimed the lives of Diogo and his brother André Silva. I decided to not make a video about it because it wasn't my place. I'm not a journalist. I'm simply a guy who runs his mouth on YouTube, but my channel is monetized. So I felt that I did not want to make any kind of a profit talking about the passings of Diogo and André. It just wasn't my thing. I'm not Fabrizio Romano. I'm not any kind of Portuguese journalist, and I did not want that kind of money in my pockets. So rest in peace. Descansa en paz, Diogo y André. I decided to wait until I would do a roundup for the offseason in Portuguese football. Here it is. Of course, there's nowhere else to start other than talking about what happened. So that's where it is. Both of these players, these men, will be missed. And really, that's all I'm going to say about it. Because, again, I'm not a journalist, and it's not my place, and I don't want any kind of profit off of their passings. There is no easy or tactful way to move on to the next subject, so I'm just going to have to do it. The next biggest story in the Portuguese offseason was the Viktor Gyökeres saga. That finally came to an end. He went to Arsenal for 73.5 million euros. Viktor Gyökeres signed a 5-year deal with Sporting. He served 2 of those years. There were 3 years left on the contract. The release clause was 100 million euros. Sporting told Gyökeres that they would take less money for him, and his market value was listed at 75 million euros. Took a little bit less at 73.5. I'm actually surprised it happened because our Arsenal is notoriously cheap. They have spent a ton of money this offseason, but Gyökeres was linked to Arsenal for more than a year. And I kind of felt that if it was going to happen, then it would have happened last year. And I thought he was going to go to Manchester United. It turns out he had no interest, and you can't blame him. Manchester United is not in any European competition this season. And that makes the whole Ruben Amorim debacle even more confusing. But speaking of confusing, why was the release clause for Gyökeres at 100 million euros? What did Sporting know that not even Viktor Gyökeres knew? They thought that he was going to become a megastar in football, and he did. They believed in Viktor Gyökeres, but Gyökeres signed a 5-year deal. So that tells me that Sporting believed in Viktor Gyökeres more than Viktor Gyökeres believed in Viktor Gyökeres. And it turned into a much more contentious battle between Sporting and Gyökeres than it should have. It was a messy negotiation, but it's finally over with. Gyökeres is going to be replaced by Luis Suarez. No, not the Luis Suarez, talking about the other Luis Suarez, the guy from Almeria, who spent 2 years there, and he scored a lot of goals for Almeria. And one of those seasons was in La Liga, Spain's first division. So I think there's a chance that offensively he can fit right in and maybe Sporting doesn't miss a beat. Their biggest problem is going to be Rui Borges, but fortunately that's their problem and it's not Vitoria's anymore. So speaking of my Vitória, they really didn't do much this offseason. They had a disappointing end to last season. They were not able to retain their Conference League spot of 5th place. That went to Santa Clara. I don't know if they're as good as they were last season. I think they could struggle a little. I did see one YouTuber recently say that he thinks Famalicão will take 5th place. That would be interesting. I think Vitória will compete. I don't know if they'll be able to get back to 5th place, but I think they'll compete for it. The biggest thing that happened to them was finally getting rid of Bruno Varela, who I swear has got to be the worst goalkeeper I have ever seen. Every time that man touched the ball, it turned into a calamity. I've never seen somebody look so nervous being around a ball. And this is your job. This is what you do for a living. And the guy just looked scared. And his departure is addition by subtraction. They also cut ties with João Mendes, number 17. Not to be confused with João Mendes, 13. Yes, Vitória had 2 guys in the squad with the exact same name. Pretty interesting. After watching Vitória play last night, I think maybe they should have cut ties with João Mendes, 13 as well. We're going to circle back to that. But Vitória did what Vitória does. They signed some more second division players. They brought in some guy from Boa Vista. Nothing major, nothing significant. And yeah, it's going to be about the same as last season, I think, for them. The big arch rival, Braga. I see them finishing in 4th place just because they're Braga. And Braga does 4th place. I am never going to believe in Braga until they actually win something. My prediction for 3rd place will be Sporting. Again, I don't think they're going to struggle too much with losing Gyökeres. I think Suarez can be very good for them. Maybe Conrad Harder steps up. I don't think that scoring goals is going to be Sporting's issue. It's just going to be a coaching issue. And I'm not a believer in Rui Borges. I don't think he's a good manager. And Sporting and their fans are going to find that out. It's going to cost them everything. It's going to cost them their title. In 2nd place, I see Benfica. Very strong team. And sure, if everything goes well for them, they could win the league. The only reason I'm not picking them is that I really like what Porto did in the offseason. They filled a lot of holes. They got rid of their weak links. No major purchases, but solid purchases. I really like what they did. They have a new manager, and a lot of their fans seem to be very happy with that. So again, don't sleep on Porto. I really do think they're the best team in Portugal now. And the other thing about Porto, however, I don't want to hear anyone say, oh, they have this financial crisis. They're hurting for money. No, they aren't. They spent money like they were drunks in this offseason. And that whole no money thing that started last season, and it was just a smokescreen, a way for André Villas-Boas to put his mark on the squad. And he did that. Credit to him. But Porto is a club of liars. They're deceitful. They're unethical. But I think they hit the nail right on the head with this team. I do think Porto is going to win the league. I had mentioned that I saw Vitória play last night. That's because I went to Barcelos for the first time. They were there playing against Celta Vigo of Spain. The game was supposed to be here in Gyökeres, but they were having issues with the field or they were still working on it. I can't explain that one. The last home game for Vitória was on May 11th, and one would think that repairs would have been done or started on May 12th, but whatever. So I'm going to show you some video here of Barcelos. I'm going to show you some videos from the stadium. The game ended 1-0 for Vitória. The goal was scored by Kamara, new striker on the team. But overall, both sides were pretty uninspiring. It was not an exciting game, but Vitória fans, they did what Vitória fans do. They showed up, they showed out. So, again, I'm going to show you some scenes from Barcelos, and we're going to come back here to wrap it up. Welcome to Barcelos, not Barcelona. You're not going to find La Sagrada Familia here. We are in Barcelos, Portugal, home of Gil Vicente, the football club. The reason I'm here is Vitória is playing a game, preseason friendly against Celta Vigo of Spain. And the game was supposed to be at the Dom Afonso Henriques, but they're still fixing the grass there, and it couldn't have been used, so they had to find a new stadium to play this game. I'm a little surprised that the game's not in Moreira or Aves or even Vizela. Here I am in Barcelos, and I'm glad that I got to come here. It is a trip that I wanted to make last season when Vitória played Gil Vicente, but there was no bus that was going there, and you actually cannot get public transportation from Gyökeres to Barcelos and back in the same day. If the game is at night, then the last train back to Gyökeres is before the game even ends. There's no Flixbus, and you can take a Redi Expressos, and I know I'm butchering the pronunciation on that, but the last Redi Expressos bus back to Gyökeres is somewhere around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's something that Portugal, especially northern Portugal, is going to have to work on when it comes to transportation. So pardon the camera that's going everywhere. I'm trying to give you a little bit of a view of some of the city center in Barcelos. It's very nice here. This is a pretty cool little city. It is spread out. The stadium is nowhere near the city center. The stadium is actually in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And I'm going to give you one more angle, and then I'm going to show you a fountain. We got a fountain here, and we got roosters. Barcelos is where the famous symbol of Portugal, the rooster, comes from. I don't know the backstory behind that, but I'm going to show you a rooster. And to quote Alice in Chains, we are not going to snuff the rooster. So I will be back a little bit later to show you some scenes of the stadium and see Vitória play. Forza Vitória! So that's Barcelos. Nice little city, very friendly people, charming little city center. It's not near the stadium. You do need a car to get around Barcelos. They have city buses, but let's face it, we all know they're not running on a regular schedule there. I don't need to go back when Vitória plays against Gil Vicente. It's going to be like Avish, where it's one and done. But I'm glad I went. We have a couple of serious videos coming up. One of them is going to be about my status in Portugal, what may or may not happen, what I'm planning. And yeah, it's going to be not a video I'm looking forward to making, I'll tell you that. Anyway, if you want more videos about moving to Portugal, the process of getting here, Portuguese football, anything Portugal related, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. These are the best things you can do to help a content creator on YouTube. I want to thank you all for watching, and Força Vitória!